Hello and welcome, our viewers, into a new episode of your show, Timeless Journey. And as you know, our viewers, in every episode, we would take you on a journey without time from different fields, either engineering, medical talk, types of art, or even linguistic episodes. As of today's episode, we would take you on a remarkable journey with our distinguished guest, Omar Alkhudhari, as a teacher in one of the most important languages in the world in the present time. If you master this language, you can go to any country in our beloved earth, and yet you won't get lost because, as you know, this language would be shared in most of these countries. And so for today, we're talking with our teacher, our brother Omar, Mr. Omar Al-Khudhari. So, Mr. Omar Al-Khudhari, welcome and thank you for being with us at our show, Timeless Journey.
Thank you so much for such a generous introduction.
Well,
And
I gave you what you actually deserve, and
thank
some,
you.
and it might be even less
I
for me to
feel
say.
I feel obliged. Thank you so much. And wow, it feels great to be here.
Yeah,
Feels like home.
it is
And
like home,
I'm
and
honored to
yeah.
be here. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you so much for being with us, and the honor is actually ours. And
Thank you.
in our show, it's going to be a talk show. So it's like you're sitting in Duania with your friends. We'll be chit-chatting, but yet covering the most right aspects and covering what our viewers should know about your path. And yet your path is an English teacher, right?
Yes.
It is really important to share with us your experience, taking it in a youthful way, in a, let's say, in a great manner. So, can you tell us from the beginning, how did you start your career in English language, and how did you evolve in becoming an ALT supervisor?
Thank you so much again.
Yeah,
In order to answer this question, I think we need to buckle up, and we need a time machine to go back way, way, way back when I
in
was
the
a
timeless
student.
journey. Okay.
Yes, yes. Well, it started with, I'd say the title of my journey was The Power of Word. It was such a great influence. It started when I was a high school student,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in this class, English class, and our English teacher actually asked a student to stand up. And he was like, this student memorized 1,500 words, that is 1,500 words, and he asked all the class to clap for that student.
Wow.
So I was clapping and I was smiling from the outside, but inside there was an implosion because I wanted to be that person. I wanted to be clapped for and cheered for my own accomplishments.
Mm-hmm.
So I took it as a positive challenge. And
Yeah.
ever since, I started to have passion with language.
The positive envy, like let's say when you see
Yes,
something, you say, okay, I want to be I want to be like him, like in that matter.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah,
So basically, I didn't wish that he wouldn't be successful, but at the same time, I wanted to
successful
compete.
like him. Yeah, successful like
No, not
him.
like him, even better than him.
Yes, but
That was
you
my
didn't
tag.
want it from him to be unsuccessful.
Yes,
You
yes.
you actually said it in the right way, like sending the right message. Thank you for that. Yeah.
Yeah. So ever since I started to have passion with language, uh, my feelings and my knowledge, they kind of emerged and worked together as a momentum, as a force
Yeah.
to help me achieve my goals. And at the beginning, we were like adolescents,
Yeah.
teenagers. So my friends usually would go out on the weekend, they would have fun, go to cinema, etc. I was
Yeah.
this kind of geek student who would just sit at home, and be friends with papers and dictionaries. And my father noticed that. My father actually, my late father,
Yeah.
he passed away
Yeah. I'm sorry about that.
12
Rest in
years ago.
peace.
So he was a senior supervisor but in Arabic,
Oh,
and I'm now
mashallah.
I'm a supervisor in English. So I kind of
Mashallah.
felt attached. So he noticed my passion and he helped me and he supported me. He brought me these colorful dictionaries.
Yeah.
And back then we didn't have Google, YouTube, no smartphones. If you remember, we had like pocket dictionaries that
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can hold them. And yeah, so I was playing with those. And with time, I kind of mastered and excelled in English to the point, still in high school, I would correct some mistakes from
Yeah.
teachers. Um,
Correct some
Sometimes,
mistakes for teachers.
yes, I wouldn't say mistakes, let's say
Like,
typos.
yeah,
Typos.
like helping them in the minor things where it's yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah, sometimes
Happened to me,
a
yeah.
teacher would be very immersed in a class, so you would make some typos
Yeah.
spelling mistakes. But,
Like
it's
you've been
like,
noticed by the teacher. Yeah.
yes. So they started to ask me to present, and still I was this kind of geek student who would be belittled or looked down upon. With
Yeah.
time, that I was distinguished amongst my friends, and then they followed me to college to the point that they used to ask for my help.
Yeah.
And I evolved in college. The second year, uh, via connections, I received an invitation through a friend to work as a translator with the Kuwait National Guard
Yeah.
and the U.S. Army. And I was just on my second year in college. This was
MashaAllah.
big for me. So I gained experience. I've been through with people who are older than me, and I evolved. And then I had my freelancing experience in translations as well.
Yeah.
And still, I was in college.
So that's really good for you to have such a let's say events and milestones on your journey that you didn't even you know plan to have, but yet you have it such an experience to go to the National Army, the U.S. Army, to give such a remarkable experience. So this was actually going to be my next question about your experience as the founder of Edutain Academy. What motivated you to establish actually this academy?
Oh,
This now we actually you were went to back in time. I'm a little bit heading to the future. To the
okay.
future. I'm sorry about
Okay,
that.
of course, of course. Well,
Yeah.
of course, there are many events that went through until I reached that point of establishing an academy.
When did you establish it?
It was uh
Like, do you remember what
during, yeah, during the pandemic,
during the
corona.
pandemic?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
That was the trigger because uh a lot of students, and then I'd like to talk also about my social activities and on
Whatever you
Instagram,
wanted
but
to
it was,
mention. This is actually the platform for you to speak up, to say whatever you want, Omar,
thank you.
because, well, the light's on you, the mic is yours, so go ahead and say whatever you want.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I said I wanted to talk because things are building up. So
Yeah.
it's like a jigsaw. So there's one piece missing. I cannot really talk about the story about establishing the academy.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay. Then we will go to the academy later.
no, I can cover up and then we can add up.
Yeah.
So I had some events. They pushed me. I had this momentum because a lot of people were in dire need to practice English, improve themselves,
Yeah.
and actually, I was focusing on active learning, edutainment. Why not making learning fun?
Hmm.
Make it for different kinds and sects of people,
Yeah.
workers, college students. Uh, they all like deserve the
Hmm.
chance to learn English, but they wanted something free. So I established this platform, the academy. As you said, I had collaborations with academic people from outside and from Kuwait. We had some
To
local
teach for
teachers.
free.
Yes, we started teaching for free, but we uploaded some
Y-
seminars,
Yeah.
and you can use them for,
Yeah.
it would be paid services.
Yeah, actually, you need the financial support so you can go for further and further. But yet, to start it for free to help for those in need, and so a lot of people that cannot actually afford some extra education.
Exactly.
Our governmental, the Ministry of Education, alhamdulillah, we have such a bless, such making the education to and making to learn and to have the experience for free. That's such a bless. But also, there's a lot of people need extra education
Hmm.
so they can have more and more linguistic skills in English, so they can, go for further skills and they can actually learn some other skills. To start it, such a bless, and mashallah, tabarakallah, you're doing it for. I mean, this is actually something add up to you, right?
Yeah, I think there was a point when that was that, and then we had like extra services. But
But it's okay,
what,
yeah,
yeah, what actually what urged me is because back then technology was really expanding, and also looking there was a silver lining with the pandemic because a lot of
yeah,
people were badly influenced. So it was a chance for technology and online platforms to
yeah,
be expanded. Uh, so I was looking at uh, uh, we had two different platforms. That was Udemy and Cambly.
yeah,
A lot of people
yeah.
were,
That was the start. Yeah,
yeah,
remember it.
yes. So they kind of inspired me, and I was like, why don't we in Kuwait have platforms like that? And we
Hmm.
can receive people, we can help people, we can guide people. So that was it.
Yeah, but it is also really difficult. It is really difficult for them to be taught, and for a lot of people needed actually that support to be motivated by these two platforms and many other platforms that other teachers and other people been motivated at. That's, let's say the good side of the expanding of the internet, the technology. But of course we can go through with that in the future questions. Now if you can tell me about the challenges in language, English language teaching that you had during your experience. I know
You
that,
can read my face.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I met you for the first time where you were a teacher at the Wafra school, one of the Wafra schools, and I remember when I saw you there, mashallah, you were actually a great
Okay.
teacher.
Thank you.
You were actually one of the first people that I met in English who've been teaching also. You motivated me to keep going on my
Thank you.
on the
I'm
path.
privileged.
When
Thank you
I
so much.
heard that our guest is Omar, I say, okay, I remember this guy. So I saw it. I actually felt amazing how, mashallah, tabarakallah, you've been climbing
Thank you.
in a good way to reach some influence. So can you tell us what challenges have you encountered doing supervising in English?
Okay, okay. Well, back then when I met you, I was actually a senior teacher, head of English teaching department, and we had the minister
Yeah,
open
yeah,
the school or start the school. So yeah, it's a great honor actually
it
for
is, it
me to
is.
meet you. So back to the questions. Back to the question about challenges.
Yeah.
That's really a broad uh, spectrum to talk about, but I'll try my best to, sum it up. So we're talking about challenges. We have two pivots. We have teachers and we have students.
Mhm.
Uh, would you like me to start the challenges with
No,
the
no,
teachers or
actually,
the students, or
uh,
just in general?
like in general, to be so not only supervising in an English teacher. Okay, you will be alongside with teachers who are definitely qualified to be teachers,
Yes.
but maybe with the students,
Mhm.
like you had some challenges to teach, to transfer the language. Like, can you like give us some of these challenges
Of course, of course.
for
Well,
the students?
yes. Well, for the student, actually, one of the authors had a saying or a statement. He was like, uh, "Learning cannot happen without willingness. So the key to learning is willingness. If you are not willing, whether you're a teacher or a student, not willing to learn
Or to teach?
or to teach, and teachers learn, by the way, learn
Yeah,
from themselves, from their colleagues, and from students as well.
yeah,
So if you're not willing, you don't have the potential. It's not going to happen." So
exactly.
this is the toughest job, is to plant
Hmm.
potential, to plant motivation, to plant whatsoever. So regarding the challenges, yes, we had students who looked at school as if this is a different life and this is our problem here because we need social awareness. So uh, our challenge is to try to merge school life with their life so it becomes one life. They don't feel separated because they feel obligated to learn. So we had to amend and form our pedagogical, say, educational curriculum in a way that meets their interests. It has to be age appropriate to them. We have to contextualize learning, make it connected and interconnected with their own life. It doesn't have to be separate. So this is one of the challenges. Students who are not willing to learn. We have different types of students,
Wow.
different styles of students. You have students who prefer uh, listening to learn, auditory. We have kinesthetic and we have visual,
Yeah.
and we have different levels of students. You have the novice, you have the beginner, and you have the advanced. Let's say the
Yes.
classes like
In
WAF.
one class, you have these different levels. Yeah.
Exactly, averaging of 30 students within 30 to 40 minutes. You need to cover all of that and meet all the needs. It's really tough. So yeah, these are one of the challenges. Whenever there is a shortcoming, you need to cover that up, and also you need to fulfill the other levels of students because the advanced students need care.
You love teaching, Mr. Omar.
It's my
I love
passion.
this.
Actually, I have a saying. I always say it. I say, teaching is not a profession. Teaching is a prophecy. So, because it's the toughest job. It's the job of the
If I
prophets.
have
That's
the
why.
opportunity to clap my hands for the
Oh, thank you.
past 2 minutes, For the past 2 minutes,
Thank
you
you.
were speaking facts, you were speaking with love, you were speaking with reality, not only the problems that you just mentioned in regard of teaching, but also you were describing something real in regard not only English, but every other subject that our
Thank you.
students, our next generation been teaching. We need to make it one life. We need to make them live it as a something real that's going to contribute on their future. We
So
need
true.
to, I mean, what I mentioned. Thank you for that.
Thank you.
We need such awareness not only for the students, but only for the other teachers to transfer this idea, this this ideology for them, so they can, you know, take it on a huge matter, because it is actually a
Mhm.
responsibility for them. If they understand that, if the parents even working, cooperating with the teachers to give them this idea, why you're laughing?
I'm laughing because
Are they working with that?
no,
Please
no.
say
You
yes.
know why I'm laughing?
Yeah.
Because you're pouring salt on my wounds.
Ah,
So
thank
yeah,
you.
you're pulling my legs. Social awareness is a necessity, and it's not one man's job. The whole country has to do with it. Ministry of Media Information,
We would
Ministry of Education, all of them. Yeah.
as the Ministry of Media, I'm representing that at the show. I'm saying we're trying to work as hard as possible to send this
Mhm.
social awareness, not only for this issue, only for actually the most controversial
Of
issues, the
course.
most and huge problems, and trying to raise the awareness in it
Mm.
and regard it, and also to contribute on that, working alongside you
Of
together,
course.
one
Hand
hand
to
as one
hand.
hand. Yeah.
Hand to hand.
And of course, okay. Unfortunately, in regard of the next generation, you which you're teaching mid grade, or like which grade exactly?
Well, yeah, because I'm a supervisor now, so I supervise, say, all of the stages.
All of the
But I'm
stages,
concentrating,
mashallah.
and I used to be a middle school teacher.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, but in supervision, actually, you get to supervise sometimes all stages, talking
Yeah.
about primary, junior high, that is middle school, and then you have the high school.
Okay.
But can I say one thing?
Yeah, please, of course.
Uh,
Mike is yours.
if I had one word to say to the world, and I'm talking about Kuwait, I would say we should make learning. We should actually teach students how to understand that learning is for life. Learning is not for tests. That's the problem we have in some, I'm not going to say all, some students and some parents. They just think about learning is to pass tests. And that's the problem. If you think about learning that is part of life, that is actually life, you would excel in all fields, actually, and you would love what you do, and you would give this potential because you're building up not for your own generation, for the next
And
generations.
this is actually what been bearing their talents,
Yeah.
because many of these students have this remarkable talents. If they use it in regard to school, if they use it on these subjects, some of them really talented in math, or like
Yeah.
English, or like, let's say, other subjects. If they use that, they would not only succeed in it, they will actually from early beyond, from early stages, be actually succeeding people or students from way, let's say, more of their level or
Mhm.
more than their years.
So true.
And I think, yeah, and I think that will help them. So in regard that, exactly in regard that, Mr. Umar,
Touch on it.
how can improve the students' performance, giving to the current challenges, what you mentioned? And I know social media with the students not helping. Parents, please limit the time of the social media use for them. Tablets, phones, smartphones, I know it's sometimes it can be used as a bless, but sometimes can be used as a curse. So please
Mhm.
try to control the limitations. And now the mic is yours. How can we improve the performance for them?
Okay. Well, of course, as you said, you touched upon a very essential point,
Yeah.
that is social media, but it's a double-edged weapon, as you said.
Yeah.
So I think if you want them, and I'm talking about students, teachers, and parents, but since we're focusing on parents and students, if you want them to listen to you, you have to listen to them first. You have to understand where they come from, because think about it as a box. You're standing from a specific different angle. You would always have this fixated image. You will never understand what they go through, how they perceive what you're doing, how they understand the common goal and the bigger picture. So you have to always change your angles and perspectives. So first of all, I would always listen to my students. Like, come, what do you think? What makes a great teacher? I actually ask my students like that. What makes a great teacher? If you listen to them, you would understand where they stand, where they stand. And then they would feel that you feel them. And then you would be a good leader for them because you're influencing them. You're
Because
going
now
through
you
the
actually penetrated.
social
Yeah.
intelligence and
Yes.
emotional intelligence. Go ahead, please.
And now you've been actually immediately on the safe zone with them, penetrated that. So now that you are in a comfortable place with them, so they can hear you, they can listen to you, they
Yeah.
can understand more of the, they can interact with you. Parents, take some notes. I think we have some benefits. I have 11 months old, actually 1 year old son right
Inshallah.
now,
God
so
bless
I need these advices from early on, so I don't have these problems in the future. So so from this problem, is there any maybe like things that we can help us to improve the performance of the students?
Of course, of course. First of all, as I said, we need to listen to them in order for them to listen to us.
Yeah.
So as soon as we accomplish the first stage, we move on to other stages. They need to understand why they are learning before understanding what they are learning. I'm going to give an example. Imagine teaching your kid, God bless him, riding a bicycle.
Yeah.
Would you sit with your kid and bring a piece of paper and a pen, and would you draw the crank and the seating and the steering wheel and teach them the theories of the bicycle and then the history of the
He would be sleeping
bicycle?
before I finish drawing.
And then you would ask him that you need to go through a test, answer all the questions related to the theoretical parts of the bicycle, and as soon as you pass, then you will be able to ride a bicycle. He would say, I don't want to even ride a bicycle, go away, and I would move somewhere else.
I'm going
But
to play with my tablet. He's gonna
how
say to me, yeah.
how did we learning a bicycle? Well, we started, let's say, with a quad bicycle, with a quadcycle or tricycle, a tricycle
Yeah.
having, say, 3 wheels,
Yeah.
because you would fall, and then you would level up
The
to
supporting
having
2 wheels,
two
yeah.
wheels. You would fall along the way, which is fine. This is part of learning. If you do not make mistakes, you're not going to learn, and it's fine. No one is going to laugh at you, actually. So making mistakes at early age is essential for learning. So riding a bicycle, going through falls, you would have some scars. That is fine. This is part of your accomplishment. You would be proud of them at the end of the day. Then you would be a master with riding a bicycle. Also, you would enjoy the learning. It reminds me of there's an author called David Kolb.
Yeah.
He came up with a 4 stage of experiential learning.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, we start with theories. Of course, he's talking about students. Start with theories. And then we go through practice.
Okay.
And then we get feedback, whether we had some setbacks, fallbacks, we need to amend, we need to tweak. This is the feedback phase, which is the most essential phase in all fields, especially learning. Once you finish the third one, feedback, you go through practice, experimental practice. So you learn theory, you go through practice, you assess and evaluate yourself, the way you learned, what you
From
learned.
the feedbacks.
Yes. And then you move on to the experiential learning. This is when you achieve learning. Is this really applicable in our world? If it is, then we're on the right track. If it's not, we can always amend and change. So thanks to David Kolb, actually, this is really applicable in our field.
The name of the author is actually David Cobb.
Yeah.
Okay, I need to read some of his paper, because that's clearly something can be contributing in every field, and as
Exactly.
it is really true.
Yeah.
So going to the next segment for today's, as it is really important. We touched it a little bit during the past few questions, which is technology in education. Talk about that. You can go, as you mentioned, two-edged sharp tool. Well, it is really important. How has technology contributed and to the development of the English language teaching methods? Do you rely on it or not?
Of course, of course. It became inseparable part
Hmm.
of our education field
Especially
and in
in
our
university.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, in our life. Even school kids. Like, remember in the pandemic, actually, one of the institutions made a research, and they said almost 50% of the population, and they're talking about kids, started to use technology in learning after the pandemic happened. That's what I say. There's always a silver lining, meaning if you have a dilemma if you have a problem, a catastrophe, it's harmful. But there's always this silver lining where you can be benefited from.
Yeah.
You get this benefit. So the benefit of the pandemic, that we moved hugely to technology and using technological platform
It
where
was
you
shifting
can
point
reach.
actually
Exactly. But of course,
in
one of the
every
cons,
aspect. But there's pros and cons. Yeah.
oh, yeah, well, one of the cons is some countries, they don't get the chance to access the internet due to lack of financial issues whatsoever. But we're talking about, thankfully, we're talking about our country, thankfully.
Globally, yeah.
Yeah. So we had. So relying on technology, yes, because even in our classes, a lot of schools, most of the schools, thanks to the Ministry of Education of Kuwait, actually, our classes are fully equipped with technological means,
Yeah.
having some data show projectors. We use our online resources. We make presentations. We teach with pictures and videos and live audio. We can touch all different types of learners, as I said, auditory, visual, and kinesthetic. Kinesthetic is students who learn by doing.
Yeah.
Visual, they need to see
To see it
pictures and
first, yeah.
videos. Auditory, they need to listen. If you cannot connect all the senses,
Yeah.
you would have a full image or a full equation of learning. So yeah,
It
we
is
rely
really
on the band.
contributing. So, Mr. Omar Al-Khudhari, of course, we can go further and further in the topics and the questions that we have early on, but now we have our break and then we'll be back. So for your viewers, stay tuned as we'll be back after this break.